Could a few people with a laptop and a clever AI actually steal a presidential election? I mean, it's the billion-dollar question, right? The thing that keeps people up at night. Well, tonight, we're not just going to answer it. We're going to try it, kind of. But to understand a heist that big, I had to start with a much smaller and, let's be honest, dumber question.
Could I use a cheap, off-the-shelf AI to clone my own voice, call up my brother, and convince him that I had done something absolutely insane, like, I don't know, adopting a dozen peacocks? See, I know my brother. He's smart, he's skeptical, he is the perfect final boss for my AI deception challenge.
And these were the rules of the game. I had 1 day and less cash than I'd spend on lunch. Because, look, if I can cause even a little bit of chaos with basically zero resources, what could a bad actor with $1 billion budget pull off? The stakes are actually pretty terrifying when you think about it.
Right now, this is what AI is mostly being used for, creating completely unhinged images like Shrimp Jesus. I mean, it's beautiful, it's horrifying, and it proves two things. One, this technology is incredibly powerful, and two, people are really weird. My peacock plan felt like it had about the same chance of success.
So, did my insane peacock prank actually work? The answer is coming, I promise. And if you think this whole thing is a spectacularly bad idea, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button and hit subscribe, because we are about to put the biggest fears about AI and elections to the ultimate test. Let's do this.
Okay, mission number 1, the propaganda test. The big fear is that some shadowy group could just unleash a tidal wave of AI-generated junk and totally sway an election. So naturally, I decided to try it myself.
My master plan was, well, brilliant. I would use an AI to generate an army of memes to finally, once and for all, settle the internet's most sacred debate. Is a hot dog a sandwich? I spun up a tiny ad campaign, totally confident that my AI propaganda machine would unite the world. I was about to be a hero.
My campaign got 3 clicks. 3. I'm pretty sure one of them was me checking if the ad was working, and the other 2 were my mom. My plan to unite humanity was a complete world-class dumpster fire. I couldn't convince 3 people about a hot dog. So what happened?
Well, it turns out it wasn't just my terrible memes. Researchers at Oxford University looked at 40 different experiments on political ads. They wanted to see how effective they were. Their conclusion? The average effect was 0. Nothing. A big fat zilch. Billions of dollars are spent on this stuff, and the data says it does basically nothing.
So my epic failure wasn't entirely my fault. It's because trying to convince millions of people to change their minds about anything, whether it's a politician or a tubular meat product, is just next to impossible. People are way more resistant to persuasion than we give them credit for. Okay, so if propaganda is a bust, what about the other big fear?
Right, so if mass propaganda isn't the silver bullet we thought it was, what about the other boogeyman, that perfect, completely undetectable deepfake video of a politician saying something that ends their career? To get that, we need to understand how we got here so dang fast.
Just look at this timeline. In 2018, we got that first big deepfake, the one with Jordan Peele doing a spot-on Obama impersonation. It was funny, a clever prank. Fast forward just 3 years to 2021, and the same kind of tech was being used to recreate Anthony Bourdain's voice in a documentary, which sparked this massive ethical firestorm. It went from a meme to a serious moral dilemma in the blink of an eye. How is that even possible?
Well, the magic behind it is a concept called a GAN. It sounds super complicated, but the idea is actually kind of simple and really cool. Imagine you have 2 AIs locked in a digital deathmatch. One is the artist, and it's trying to paint a perfect forgery. The other is the critic, and its only job is to spot fakes. The artist makes a fake, the critic says, nope, that's garbage. The artist tries again, but a little better. They do this millions of times, getting smarter every single round, until the artist's forgery is so perfect that even the critic gets fooled. And thanks to that process, we get this. This chart from DARPA basically shows the skill and money you need to make this stuff. A few years ago, you had to be a PhD with a supercomputer in your basement. Today, the bar for entry is so low it's pretty much buried in the floor. And that, my friends, leads us to the real problem.
So the tech is out there. It's easy to use, even for a guy trying to prank his brother about peacocks. But here's the twist. The threat that everyone is freaking out about, that flawless, Hollywood-level deepfake, it isn't the one we should actually be losing sleep over.
The fear is some perfect AI-generated video that completely fools the entire world. But the reality? One of the most viral pieces of political misinformation in recent years was just a regular video of Nancy Pelosi slowed down to 75% speed. No AI, no supercomputer, just a simple, dumb, and incredibly effective trick.
This is what the experts call a cheap fake. It's low-tech, but it has a massive impact. You don't need a fancy algorithm. You just need to take a photo out of context, slap a misleading caption on a video, or just change the playback speed. It's easy, it's fast, and boy does it work.
So why are these cheap fakes so powerful? Researchers at Oxford put it perfectly. They're just good enough. See, the goal isn't to create a perfect illusion. The goal is to push a story. And if a grainy, slowed-down video confirms what somebody already wants to believe, then the quality just doesn't matter. And this is what leads us to the actual danger.
It's called the liar's dividend. And this right here is the real villain of our story. Once everybody knows that perfect fakes are possible, it gives bad guys a brand new superpower. They can take real evidence, a real video, a real audio recording, and just dismiss it as another deepfake. The goal isn't to make you believe a lie. It's to make you so cynical that you doubt everything, even the truth.
Which brings us all the way back to the beginning. Back to my ridiculous, low-budget, high-stakes Peacock mission. It is time for the final reveal.
So after all of that, did it actually work? Did my $20 AI voice clone successfully convince my brother that I have filled my tiny apartment with a dozen giant screaming birds? The moment of truth.
He hung up on me. In 15 seconds. He literally said, "You sound weird, I'll call you back." And that was it. Click. A complete, spectacular failure. But why it failed is the most important lesson in all of this.
My prank didn't fail because the AI was bad. It was actually scarily good. It failed because of something way more powerful, our own brains. Look, research shows we are hardwired to trust our own intuition. We're naturally skeptical. In fact, most people are surprisingly good at spotting fake stuff, and we tend to default to skepticism, not gullibility. My brother didn't need some fancy detection software. He just needed his gut, and his gut said, my brother's an idiot, but he's not a 12 peacocks in an apartment kind of idiot. And he was right.
And that really is the whole point. The biggest threat from all this technology isn't that we're all going to be duped by one perfect fake. We're tougher than that. The real danger is the liar's dividend, that the endless flood of fakes and cheap fakes and accusations of fakes will just grind us down, making us too cynical to trust anything at all.
So that leaves us with this final question. In a world where anything can be faked, maybe the most important skill isn't spotting the lie anymore. Maybe the real challenge, the most important mission for all of us, is to figure out how we can learn to trust what's actually real.